The most insidious form of abuse, the kind that truly eats away at your core, isn't physical. It doesn't leave bruises you can see or wounds that bleed. It's metaphysical, a calculated assault on your very being. It's about targeting a person's connection, those vital links that ground us. Their connection to reality itself, twisting and distorting their perception of the world around them. Organized stalking, a relentless campaign of harassment and severe narcissistic abuse, with its insidious manipulation and emotional wreckage, aim to orchestrate, to meticulously plan and execute a dimensional disconnection, a severing of ties to everything that makes you. It's about severing an individual's resonance, their harmonious alignment with the world, creating a sense of profound isolation and alienation, and their own authentic self, stripping away layers of identity until only a hollow shell remains. This isn't random cruelty. It's not a fleeting moment of malice. It's a calculated campaign, a carefully orchestrated strategy designed for maximum impact. It's rooted in malignant narcissism, a deep-seated need to control and destroy, designed to isolate a soul, to trap them in a prison of their own mind. It goes beyond social ostracism, beyond mere exclusion from the group. It's about pushing them into, forcing them down a path of utter desolation, profound existential solitude, a place where hope seems to vanish entirely. The abuser weaponizes, turns into instruments of torture, social dynamics, twisting relationships and alliances to their advantage. They turn communities, places of support and belonging, and public spaces, areas of freedom and interaction, into invisible cages, trapping the target in a web of paranoia and fear. They make the target doubt, question everything they know to be true, their perceptions and sanity, leading them to question their own mental stability. Ultimately, the goal is to sever, to completely disconnect the target from their intuition, that inner compass that guides them through life, and spiritual core, extinguishing the light within and leaving them vulnerable, disrupting their unique, their individual essence, vibrational signature, altering their energetic blueprint and weakening their spirit, rendering them invisible, unseen, unheard, and ultimately forgotten. On a deeper level, a level that transcends the physical realm. This is not just about control, it's not simply about manipulating behavior. It's about annihilating, about utterly destroying a soul's connection, that fundamental link to something greater than oneself, to the universe, leaving them adrift in a sea of cosmic indifference. It's a metaphysical assassination, a calculated act of spiritual violence, masked as psychological warfare, a hidden battle waged on the battlefield of the mind. Social disconnection architecture is the deliberate construction of an environment that isolates the target from all supportive relationships. Malignant narcissists dismantle support networks through smear campaigns, triangulation, and poisoning of relationships, turning allies into unwitting agents of isolation. The abuser crafts a false narrative, reinforced by enablers, that destroys the target's reputation and credibility, trapping them in a social prison. This isolation is invisible to outsiders who may blame the target for their own suffering, while the abuser maintains a facade of innocence. The purpose is to leave the target vulnerable, with no external source of love or validation, setting the stage for deeper psychological attacks. Once support systems are gone, the target is left in manufactured solitude, primed for vibrational exile and frequency starvation. With social disconnection firmly in place, a calculated strategy to sever the target from their support systems, the insidious nature of the abuse takes a darker turn. The abuse escalates, morphing into something far more sinister and pervasive. It's no longer just about overt actions, it's about manipulating the very fabric of reality around the target. This leads to vibrational exile, a profound isolation that cuts deeper than any physical separation. It's a feeling of being utterly alone, even when surrounded by others. The target is effectively exiled from the human collective, cast adrift in a sea of perceived indifference. The target's energetic frequency is deliberately disrupted, creating a constant state of unease and disharmony. This makes authentic connection impossible, as the target's ability to resonate with others is systematically undermined. This leaves them feeling like a ghost in their own life, unseen, unheard, and disconnected from the world around them. Organized stalking creates an environment, a carefully constructed reality designed to induce paranoia and fear. It's an environment of constant dissonance. Through noise campaigns, staged conversations, and relentless cyber-stalking, all designed to keep the target in a perpetual state of fear and hypervigilance, where every shadow holds a potential threat. Each incident lowers the target's vibrational state, weakening their resilience and sense of self. This is pushing them further into an energetic quarantine, a self-imposed prison of isolation. In this state, joy and love, the very essence of human connection, feel agonizingly out of reach. Conversations become hollow, devoid of genuine meaning or emotional exchange. Connections fade, like threads slowly unraveling until nothing remains. And the world grows cold, not from a lack of social opportunities, not from social failure, or an inability to connect with others, but from deliberate manipulation, a calculated effort to sever the target from their support network. The target internalizes this isolation, beginning to believe the lies that are being projected onto them. They start believing they are somehow unlovable or fundamentally flawed, unworthy of connection or belonging. Ultimately, they become their own jailer, reinforcing the very isolation that was imposed upon them. They are trapped in a prison built not of physical bars, but of psychological manipulation by the abuser. The soul, starved of resonance and genuine connection, begins to wither, its light dimming under the weight of isolation and despair. This paves the way, creating a vulnerability that the abuser can exploit further. It sets the stage for deeper depletion, emotional and spiritual, ultimately leading to collapse. Frequency starvation. It's a subtle but devastating form of abuse. It follows vibrational exile, creating a sense of profound isolation and disconnection from others. This process involves depriving the target, often systematically and insidiously, of the energetic nourishment, the vital life force, needed for a healthy spirit and a thriving existence. Positive energies, love, genuine connection, joy, authentic happiness, inspiration, that spark of creativity, are replaced by a constant influx, a relentless barrage of negativity and stress, anxiety and fear, engineered by the abuser, meticulously planned and executed. The target's environment, their home, their workplace, becomes toxic, poisoned by negativity and control, filled with microaggressions, subtle jabs, and undermining comments, and psychological manipulations, insidious mind games designed to erode their sense of self. All of this works to drain their life force, leaving them weakened and vulnerable. The resulting symptoms often mimic severe depression or chronic fatigue, making it difficult to discern the true cause. Exhaustion, overwhelming and persistent, numbness, an emotional flatness, and a loss of passion for life, a profound sense of emptiness. This is not an internal flaw, a personal failing, but environmental poisoning, a deliberate assault on the spirit. It's a form of spiritual starvation that starves the spirit, leaving it weak and vulnerable. The world becomes desaturated, leaving the world gray and lifeless. The abuser's ultimate goal is to weaken the target's will, to break their spirit and crush their resistance, making them easier to control, to manipulate and dominate, and too depleted to resist or escape, too exhausted to fight back. Frequency starvation ensures, it guarantees, the target remains dependent, trapped in the abuser's web, trapped in a cycle, a never-ending loop of energetic depletion, a constant drain on their vital resources and psychological bondage, a prison of the mind and spirit. Organized stalking is the engine that turns dimensional disconnection into lived reality, operationalizing malice on a community scale. Groups of individuals, flying monkeys, harass, monitor, and intimidate the target, using deniable tactics that seem coincidental or minor in isolation. Synchronized noise, street theater, workplace mobbing, and surveillance create an atmosphere of paranoia and isolation. Society itself becomes a weapon, turning neighbors and co-workers into sources of threat, making every space unsafe. The psychological toll is immense, exhausting the target nervous system and shattering their sense of security. Organized stalking enforces social disconnection and frequency starvation, systematically dismantling reality and breaking the spirit. The culmination of these abuses is ontological collapse, the breakdown of a person's sense of self and reality. Gaslighting and group harassment invalidate perceptions, replacing reality with the abuser's narrative. The target doubts their sanity, their memories, their existence, as identity fractures under relentless pressure. Everyday life becomes surreal and chaotic, blurring lines between real and staged, plunging the target into confusion. The self crumbles, leaving a void where identity was, The target becomes a shell dictated by the abuser's will. This is psychological death, a descent into a void where the self ceases to exist. Ontological collapse is the horrifying endpoint of dimensional disconnection, demonstrating the devastating power of this abuse. Gaslighting, amplified by an echo chamber, is the glue holding dimensional disconnection together. The abuser's false narrative is broadcast by enablers, isolating the target from validation and support. When the target seeks help, they're met with skepticism or the abuser's talking points, deepening their isolation. This collective gaslighting forces the target to doubt their own mind, eroding self-confidence and making them easier to control. The echo chamber cements the abuser's reality, maintaining the architecture of disconnection and facilitating collapse. Breaking free requires dismantling this false reality, a monumental task for someone whose sense of self has been systematically eroded. Despite the devastation, the human spirit can heal. Recovery begins by choosing to believe yourself again. Reclaiming resonance means rebuilding connection to your authentic self, others, and the universe, starting with rejecting the abuser's narrative. Seek out high-frequency energies, nature, music, creativity, and mindfulness. Help retune your vibration and refuel your spirit. Rebuild a support network with safe, empathetic people, often found in survivor communities, who reflect your true worth. These new connections counteract isolation, providing the energetic exchange needed to heal from vibrational exile. Ultimately, healing is about trusting your intuition again, using it as a compass to navigate back to your authentic self. The journey is hard, but by reclaiming your energetic sovereignty, you transform pain into power and emerge stronger. Organized stalking and narcissistic abuse thrive in silence and disbelief. Solidarity is our most powerful weapon. Education is key. Recognize the tactics of disconnection and refuse to be an unwitting participant. Survivors, your voice is power. Sharing your story, when safe, dismantles gaslighting and validates others' experiences. Find supportive communities where your reality is affirmed, and transform pain into testimony that educates and empowers. Friends and professionals, listen with compassion, resist dismissing unbelievable stories, and offer validation as a lifeline. Cultivate empathy and connection to repel architectures of disconnection and protect the soul of our communities. The fight is for every individual's right to their own reality and resonance. Let's stand together, believe survivors, and build a world where connection triumphs over disconnection. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support helps us create more content like this.